Alright, we are back with more Lamplight City! Been a minute since we played. So, we just gotta jump back into it. I think we're investigating the kid getting kidnapping still. It's the loan sharker, Linda. So we're looking at. Let's do this. Alright, what clues do we have? Piece of torn fabric from a jacket. Has the emblem for Solomon stitching on it. So we need to find go Solomon stitching. We haven't been there yet. A single loose button found in Barry Baby's crib. It comes from the Barney child stuffed bear. Not found at the scene. Local betting horse racing track. Yesterday's date on them. Chicken tea, living room, 8:30 p.m. Then passed out and was awoken 2 hours later by Mrs. Harris. Heard the sound of smashing glass. Linda Walker's husband and son both died recently. Murder-suicide. Her husband was a drunk who probably poisoned both himself and the boy. Linda tries to contact the spirit of her dead son. Did we go to the lending office already? I don't remember. Track down Linda Walker. Speak to Mr. LaFay, the moneylender. No, so we haven't. Investigate Solomon stitching. Find out significance of Arthur Devons' gifts. All right. Let's go check out Solomon.
Sir, welcome to Solomon Stitching. I'm Jonah Solomon. Please let me know if I can help you with anything.
Quite the selection, but I doubt the typical clientele of this place buys off the rack. Isaac Samuels, the prime minister who freed the slaves. They say even his enemies wept on the day he died. I sure hope I get to meet him someday. This guy has been in business forever. That coat is so dull. I always prefer the ones with a bit more color. The design of that coat looks awfully familiar.
Does it?
Impressive collection of pattern books. I wish I'd known about this guy when I was alive. I'd have asked him to make me a suit for my funeral.
Ha!
Judging from the position and
What's
the
in the
lock,
box?
this is likely where Mr. Solomon keeps his money.
Not a very good place to keep it.
That cloth will be a garment soon. A vest, by the looks of it. Or maybe I'm completely wrong, and it's a treasure map. My grandmother had one like that.
Grandmother and a grandfather
clock? It was meant to be
clock?
relaxing, but it always felt like my time was running out. Now that it has, well, it actually is relaxing. Go figure.
Okay, that's everything I think we can look at. So let's talk to Mr. Solomon. See what he's
Mr.
got
Solomon?
to say.
Yes, sir. How may I be of service? Oh, let me guess. You're looking to replace that old coat. It looks like it's got quite a few stories.
Yeah, my
you
coat's
could tell
cool,
me.
bro.
You should listen to the man, Miles. He clearly knows what he's talking about.
Not today, I'm afraid. There's still a few more stories it has left to tell. Actually, I was wondering if I could ask you a few questions.
Questions? Very well, but if they aren't about tailoring, I don't know how much help I'll be.
You'd be surprised there, sir.
How did you get into this business, Mr. Solomon?
Let's start a
I
little
was
personal
always
details.
good with a needle and thread. When I was a boy in Poland, I would help my mother with her sewing. Then, during the war with Russia, I fixed uniforms and stitched up wounds. Not long after that, I
Oh, wow.
moved to Vespuccia, settled here in New Britannia. My first shop was in the Chum, but thankfully, I was very successful and was able to move to Lyon. I won't lie to you, this location is much, much nicer. It's refreshing to not have to step over drunken hobos when I
hobos.
open and close the shop.
Oh, but that's part of the charm of owning a business in the Chum.
Not much else to say beyond that. My business is my life.
My
You
business
seem
is
very
my life.
dedicated to your craft.
That's right. You won't see any of that newfangled steam-powered nonsense in here. Everything is done by hand and with care. I use only the finest quality materials and stitch every thread myself. And that's the way it's gonna stay as long as I'm around. It's worked for 45 years. There's no reason to change as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, he's got a point.
This is a nice shop you have. I never even knew it existed.
Well, better late than never, I always say. Life has a funny way of always taking us where we need to go in the end.
True.
Huh.
Although I think it's easy to miss out on things from time to time.
Oh, of course, it's easy to overlook the details, but in the grand scheme of things, you'll end up where you need to be. And
That's
in this
philosophy.
case, you ended up here. So, please, feel free to take a look around. Let me know if you find anything you like.
You got something for me, Fish?
I found this piece of torn fabric with your emblem on it. Can you tell me anything about it?
And here I thought my ability to
fish.
name ales within 5 seconds of tasting them was good. This fella has me beat.
Do you have any of them in stock currently?
Well, sure, I've got one on the display dummy over there.
Is there any way you can tell me who you've sold them to?
Ooh, I don't think so. I've sold at least 20 in the past month. As I said, it's a very popular style.
What about this button?
Is there anything you can tell me about this button?
Looks like it's made of wood. Not very well crafted either. Definitely not from one of my products.
Do you by chance employ a seamstress named Linda Walker?
I do, yes.
Is she here?
No, she has the day off today, but she'll be in tomorrow.
Would it be possible to have her address?
Begging your pardon, but why should I give it to you?
Her cinnamon schoolmates have something to return? Or with sisters?
Her
Ooh,
son,
yes.
Alexander, and mine were schoolmates. I just found a book he lent my son, and I wanted to return it. I've been trying to track her down for ages, and only just found out where she worked.
Oh, I see. It was a terrible tragedy what happened with her boy and her husband. I know how private Mrs. Walker is, but I'm sure she would appreciate you returning her son's book. All right. She lives at
Yeah.
403 St. Agnes Street.
Remember when you couldn't even bring yourself to trick people into thinking their shoelaces were untied? You've come a long way, Miles.
I'll be taking my leave of you now, Mr. Solomon.
Very good.
So that's
Come
the
to think of
coat.
it, I have seen plenty of people wearing that design. No tears in this one, though.
Okay. So now we know where Linda Walker lives. Is that there? The Walker residence. Dun dun dun. Do we just keep tracking her down, or we go talk to the loan shark first?
Hello, sir. Welcome to LaFay Lenders. I'm the owner, Chester LaFay.
Chester,
looking
huh?
to take out a loan.
You don't
Not
really
today,
look like
I'm
a
afraid.
Chester.
I'm Miles Ford. I'm a private investigator.
Look, I don't know what you've heard, but I run a clean business here. I don't need any trouble.
No trouble.
And I'm
huh?
not here to cause any, for the moment.
Just keep your nose where it belongs. And we should get along fine.
Just fine.
Do you suppose LaFay turns the heat up to put some pressure on his clients? Must be soothing for LaFay to be able to look at this landscape while he sits at his desk.
Get him sweating.
He actually has a degree in business from the University of New Britannia? What a waste. LaFay with a woman and a small girl. I wouldn't have taken him for a family man. A crew
You
escaping a
gotta,
shipwreck.
gotta
on a
make your money
violent
somehow, I
sea.
guess.
Not the most comforting painting to look at while waiting for a loan. I shudder to think how many people's financial freedoms are locked away in that cabinet. That's the latest model Computron. They don't come cheap. LaFay must be doing pretty well for himself.
Alright, let's see what old Chester has to say.
Mr. LaFay, I'd like to ask you some questions.
Fine, but keep it
Mhm.
brief.
No, I don't know. We're going to keep this nice and extensive.
Tell me a bit about yourself and your business, Mr. LaFay.
What's to tell? I lend people money, they pay me back.
Surely it's not that simple.
Well, of course I charge interest, otherwise I'd never make a profit. I know people don't look upon the service I provide very favorably, but without my help, there would be a lot more unhappiness in the world.
How did you go about starting up this business?
I didn't. My former employer, Mr. Roth, left it to me when he passed.
Nice.
That was rather good of him.
Yes, well, he didn't have any heirs, and he considered me to be the son he never had. He was fond of my family, too. I try and keep my work and home life as far away from each other as I can, though. There's a lot of things in this line of work that my wife and daughter are better off not knowing about.
You're beating people up.
Tell me what you know about Malcolm Harris.
Ah, Mr. Harris. Took out a loan about a month ago. Still hasn't paid me back. In fact, he sent along a letter yesterday saying he was having an emergency and needed more time. I probably should have refused to do business with him. As soon as he walked through the door, I could tell his type.
What type is that?
Upper class, bored with his life, trying to escape and doing it through vice. In his case, gambling.
This guy is good. Maybe you can pursue money lending if the whole private investigator thing doesn't work out.
But for some reason, I pitied him and decided to give him the loan anyway. Compassion isn't exactly an asset in this business, you see.
Nothing to worry about in your case, then.
Aside from that, I don't know anything about him. I prefer to keep how much I know about my clients to a minimum. Makes things easier for me.
Exactly how much did Mr. Harris borrow from you?
Is that relevant to your investigation?
Yes,
It would help to have an idea of exactly how much he owes you, yes.
I don't feel comfortable telling you the exact amount, but I will say it was over 500 crowns.
A considerable sum.
Like I said, I probably shouldn't have done it, but I'll get the money back one way or another.
Are you aware that Malcolm's son Charles was kidnapped last night?
Interesting.
I had no idea he even had a son. As I said, I don't ask my clients too many personal questions.
So,
Though now you've told me, I suppose that would explain the emergency he mentioned in his letter. Poor guy.
Take a look at this piece of fabric. Does it
Oh,
look
it's like the
familiar
one-
to you?
Sure, it looks like it came from a jacket. In fact, yes, it's the same fabric as the jacket I'm wearing.
Would you mind if I took a look at your jacket?
Sure, not a problem. Here.
I don't see any rips in the front. Nothing across the back. He looks good for it. Or not good for it. He looks alright.
No tears in mine, huh?
Not a one. You clearly take good care of your clothing.
I don't mean to discourage you, Mr. Fordham, but I've seen a lot of people with this style of jacket. Hell, even Malcolm has one. I remember he was wearing it when he came in here.
I see. Thank you for the information, Mr. LeFay.
Well, we're not done yet.
I've got some more questions, Mr. LeFay.
Go ahead, then.
What's your policy regarding people who
That's,
don't pay
yeah,
their
we
loans
breaking
back?
legs? What do we do here,
There are a
Malcolm?
few options.
What do we do here?
For the first 3
Chester,
months or so,
I mean.
I'll send them a letter reminding them. After that, I start to threaten them with legal action. You wouldn't believe some of the things people do to avoid paying back their loans. One client went so far as to fake his own death.
Do you ever employ any more unusual methods?
Now wait just a minute. I see where this is going. Mr. Fordham, I'm a family man myself. If you're implying that I would stoop to kidnapping someone's child as collateral,
I never said that, Mr. LeFay.
We're
look,
implying it,
I
though,
have a family
motherfucker.
to consider. I'm not about to go getting my hands dirty when there's plenty of legitimate ways to handle the situation.
I think that's all for now.
Alright, that's what we wanted to hear, guys. Let's go talk to our wife. Maybe she knows about something.
I'm here.
Welcome home.
What do you got, Addie?
Addie?
What do you need, dear?
You weren't kidding about business picking
lot
up.
to talk about
You're
here.
averaging what, about 3 appointments per day?
More like 5. I told you, debutante ball season's busy.
Doesn't it get tiresome?
Not really. You'd be surprised at the sort of gossip I hear from my clients.
Huh.
I don't know what it is, but they just open up to me and tell me all kinds of personal things.
Well, what you got about our people
You
here?
sure you don't want me to give you a trim?
I'm fine for now, dear. Thank you.
We kind of do need a haircut. We're all scraggly.
I'd forgotten how good you are at écarté. You absolutely destroyed me the other night.
As I recall, you used to hold your own pretty well.
We should have another match soon. That way I can hone my skills.
Yes, we should. As long as you can concentrate, I'm sure you'll get as good as you used to be.
I can't believe the nerve of that narrow-minded old cow.
We
Ooh,
got mad.
Mrs.
Look at our
Delacroix?
face.
She's actually one of my nicest clients.
I don't know how you can tolerate her. If I were you, I'd strike her off my list.
If I did that for every one of my clients who thought the same as her, I'd be out of a job. That's just the way it is.
Maybe so, but it doesn't make it any less infuriating.
Have you ever heard of a group called the Spectre Society?
I think I had a client once who mentioned it. There's some kind of spiritualist group, right?
So it would seem.
I don't really know anything else about them, sorry.
Aww.
How are things going with you?
I'm a bit worried about some rumors I've been hearing.
Oh?
They're saying it won't be long before automated hairdressing devices are available to the public.
Automated
Once that
hairdressing?
happens, it's going to be tough for me to keep getting jobs.
Automated hairdressing devices? How would those even work? Do they read your mind?
Doubtful. More than likely, they'll have some kind of settings or just give everyone the same type of hairstyle.
Yeah, somebody wants
I
that.
wouldn't worry too much, Eddie. You're the best hairdresser in town. I doubt people will place their trust in some contraption over you.
You underestimate my clientele, Miles. They're mostly all rich socialites whose hobbies are buying the most expensive and modern things just to outdo their peers. They'll be sending their servants to line up for days before the things are released.
Perhaps, but they'll come running back to you once the machines stop working. You'll see.
I certainly hope so.
I'll let you get back to your book.
Alright, well, we didn't learn anything there. Not about the case, at least.
I'm heading out for now.
Don't work yourself too hard, dear.
Oh, Mr. Fordham. Oh, thank God you're back.
What happened?
What's going on?
Our butler just brought this in. He found it stuck to the gate outside.
Harris family, we have your son. If you ever want to see him again, you must stop building the new airship. We are not joking.
I have some questions for you, Mr. Harris.
Yes, of course.
What is your opinion of this ransom note?
It's obvious who sent it, Mr. Fordham. Why are you wasting your time here? Go arrest Mr. Devons!
It's definitely
are all the
like
questions
his
I have for
handwriting, like it was
Alright.
not in English.
I have some questions for you if you're up to answering them, Mrs. Harris.
I'll try my best, Mr. Fordham.
Did you read the ransom note?
No, Malcolm wouldn't let me. He said I was already too upset.
That's all for now, Mrs. Harris.
Very well.
The Harris families. I wonder if they use.
While we're here, let's go check out his coats.
You don't suppose. How
What
about
the
that?
hell?
It matches the piece of torn fabric perfectly.
So, this means.
It could mean many things. The only thing that's certain is that a piece of this jacket ended up on the floor of the nursery.
Seems like something worth asking Mr. Harris about.
Maybe we can get him in the other room. And then we'll talk to his wife before we go in there.
I have some questions for you, Mr. Harris.
Yes, of course.
Mr. Harris, do you recall the torn piece of fabric I found in the nursery?
Yes, what about it?
As it turns out, one of the jackets in your wardrobe has a tear exactly the same size
The
and shape as this one. Would you care to tell me how that happened?
That can't be.
It can
I'm
be.
afraid it is. So explain it.
I have no explanation. The truth is, I haven't worn that jacket in weeks. I've no idea how it was torn.
Are you suggesting someone else took your jacket and wore it when the child was taken?
I don't know. Perhaps someone is trying to make it look as though I... But that's absurd. Why would I kidnap my own son?
Why indeed, Mr. Harris.
You really think he kidnapped his own son, Miles? Seems more likely he was set up. But he also doesn't strike me as a terribly good parent. Maybe it would serve him right to be blamed for this. We've done our part. The police can handle the search for the missing baby.
Those are all the questions I had for now.
All right.
Sit tight, Mrs. Harris.
What time is it? Alright, we're getting close to stopping time. So let's just clean up some stuff here. And we'll go see Linda
Mr.
Alexander next week.
Yes?
Or next time.
Mr. Devons, can you tell me about this note?
I've never seen that before in my life.
Are you sure about that?
Absolutely. It's as I told you. I had nothing to do with that boy's kidnapping. I
Doesn't
didn't even
mean
know
you
he
didn't send that
existed until
note.
you told me. Remember?
Yeah. And that note conveniently showed up right after you had that conversation. Let him stew in his own lies. His unique way of spelling is all the evidence we need to tie him to the note.
Very well, Mr. Devons. Forget I asked. Good day to you, Mr. Devons.
You too, Mr. Fordham.
Okay, so let's see if Mrs. Davis has anything else for us.
Hello again, Mr. Fordham.
I'll let you know if I have any.
All right.
I'll be going now, Mrs. Davis.
Okay.
May the spirits guide your path.
Boom, 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 boom. Let's see if Up to No Good
I'm listening.
has anything for us. No.
That's it, I think.
Then
Okay, we gotta find out the significance of that gift. Malcolm Harris, no. So just track down those two things. Is there a book maybe with that stuff in it?
welcome back.
I don't think there's anything she can help.
The chicken bones. Grist, gunpowder, red pepper. Misfortune and suffering.
Chicken bones and dust for bad luck in business, huh?
There it
That
is.
sounds awfully familiar.
Let's go talk to him about that voodoo, and then we'll go wrap this up.
I'll be going now.
May the s-
Mr. Devons.
Mr. Devons,
Yes?
do you practice voodoo, Mr. Devons?
Yeah, you
Chicken
heard me.
bones and dust you send along with your letters. It's a voodoo spell meant to cause bad luck in business. Quite a convenient solution, wouldn't you say?
I don't know what you're on about.
Come now, Mr. Devons. I'd appreciate it if you didn't think I was stupid.
All right, fine. I went to go see one of them magic women in Gascon. She told me about the spell and what I needed to do. I don't believe in the stuff, but I thought maybe if I used it, I could scare Harris enough to get him to stop making the new airship.
Well, I don't mean to be one to put a damper on your amateur witchcraft, but it doesn't seem to be doing you much good.
No, his grandson got kidnapped. That's not something I'd call lucky.
Good day to you, Mr. Devons.
You too, Mr. Fordham.
This Arthur Devons Joker is bad news. Not only is he making threats to the Harris family, he also has the nerve to send a ransom note. We have enough evidence to pin the crime on him, I think. The police can deal with the headache of actually finding the baby.
Arthur Devons, Malcolm Harris. All right. Last thing left to do is to track down Linda. We know where she lives. So let's take care of that next time. Linda is... We found Linda. Let's call it that. All right, guys. Have a wonderful night. Drop a like if you haven't already, and drop a sub if you're new. I am out of